Let the word go forth that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans.
What made you want to be an actor?
Well, it all started when I was as long as I could remember. I would quote from movies and TV shows, and I just loved to entertain people, and I didn't realize it at the time that I really did want to be an actor. But I think by the time I was in high school, I kind of realized that I did want to go into entertainment industry some way, shape, or form, and I figured actor's got to be like the best way possible. I mean, I'm not really a comedian, like a stand-up comedian, because I'm not really keen for stage, but screen seems more fitting for me.
Has that made you a better actor?
I think in some way, yes. Probably with how with my memory and how I know what I watch, what I read, those sorts of things that really appeal to me. Looking back, I kind of think of myself, it's almost like I'm a George's Patton of movies kind of thing, of knowing about movies old and new kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't know how common that is, but you know how they say that a mind is a terrible thing to waste? I think
yes.
In this case it would be a terrible thing to waste.
Yeah, it would. You were involved with the Stupid Mario Brothers on the Rich Alvarez channel. Would you like to tell me a little bit about that?
Well, how I came to be a part of that was, it was early in 2009, and I had gotten a message from Richard Alvarez. We had already known each other for about a couple of years prior to that. So I got this message from him via YouTube asking me if I wanted to be a part of, well, he wanted to meet me someplace, for lunch, and had this proposition, and so I thought about it. I was like, sure, why not? And then so the first question was, how would you feel if Yoshi was in the series? And my first thought was, okay, are you going to have him talk or not? Because I'd rather he doesn't. Because I never liked how he sounded in the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, or Super Mario World, or whatever it was. Because I just felt like it'd be better to just use the sound effects from the game, because I figured that would kind of almost like the Chewbacca method in a way. That was how I kind of described it, and he saw my point and said, okay, yeah, that would definitely work better. And so I started in around, what was it? I started Super Mario Brothers at around July of 2009, and I've been doing the seasons from up to season 5, and that was pretty much it, as I remember.
What were some of the disadvantages to that?
Well, one of the biggest disadvantages to playing Yoshi was that I just could not. You could barely see. The head was about yay big, and when you had it on, it would just be big. It's completely cover you around, and you'd only have like a spot like this where the mouth is. See down, and to move around. And one of the other problems, too, that I never liked was that, unfortunately this never happened, was if someone were to hit the nose really hard, it could actually hurt the bridge of your nose. And so one of the things I was always dreading, this is why I never wore this to conventions, was that I was always afraid someone was going to glomp me, or I'm blind as a bat, hit it hard enough, right up against the bridge of my nose, and cause my nose to bleed, staining that costume. And I don't know, how would you wash out blood like that? I mean, this is not something you just simply throw into your washer. And what was, you were asking about disadvantages, like, was there more to that question?
Did you have any other difficulties being...
One of the difficulties I kind of had was, as fun and memorable as it was, it kind of offered me little challenges as an actor, and I was longing for something a little more substantial. And Richie had this character called General in season 5, and it was nice to finally play someone that was not just a one-shot, or even very brief for that matter, but at the same time it was still like one of those, still more, but beggars can't be choosers,
right?
I guess you could say. And I don't know, I guess when you kind of look in comparison, I'm like, okay, yeah, Austin and Julian and Matt play how many characters? It's like, okay, guys, could you kind of give me a little chance here? But it was also like a little bit of recognition and acknowledgement. You know, I mean, very rarely there was.
Right.
I'm sure there was one in Richie's Operation Blindstorm video, but that was just username. I was not boxed with them on his channel, although I did ask more than once. I think that would have been nice.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be a part of it. You know, I wanted to help that be realized, and I had all sorts of ideas, but they were shot down before they were even heard, and that always kind of irked me a little bit. I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I can totally understand, you know, rejecting someone's idea, but at least give them the courtesy to hear the idea before you shoot it down.
Right.
The best way I could kind of view it was I would have had similar frustrations like how Douglas MacArthur had frustrations with Harry S. Truman with how he handled the Korean War.
Right.
In fact, looking back, I'm convinced that if we'd have done another season, he probably would have fired me. You know,
right.
He would have been like Truman, so like, I'm gonna kick his insubordinate ass right into the shit of Japan. It's lousy trick he pulled.
Right.
It probably would have been like that.
What do you consider challenging about being an actor?
Well, now this has not happened to me yet, but I think the biggest challenge would probably be being a last-minute replacement, and you're basically hitting the ground running.
Right.
That I kind of consider to be like the biggest, like, okay, say a show starts, okay, and it's like a voiceover or something like that.
Right.
And somewhere along the way, it goes under a different distributor. And then they get like different voice actors, and then they say, okay, you're fit for this, or here's a gig for you. Or I don't know how that process works,
right.
But I'm guessing it's something like that. And now, it wouldn't be so much of a challenge if you had started watching the show, but if you hadn't, and then suddenly now you're playing this character very quickly, that's basically, you know, hitting the ground running,
right.
as I put it. And so that I kind of consider to be like the biggest challenge from an acting standpoint. That has not yet happened to me, although if it does, I probably might anticipate that.
Right.
At least, like, look, here's a challenge, I'm just going to go through with it, you know, give it as best as I can.
Right. What do you consider your favorite film of all time?
The Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston, Yul Brynner, and Ann Baxter.
Okay. You do have your own YouTube channel, as we all know. How did you come up with the concept of your videos? Well,
the idea of the videos was back around 2006. This was like when YouTube was like, this was back when YouTube was much better. Right. It was much more lenient. It was great to see all sorts of AMV related videos. But what I wanted to do was splicing it to oldies music, because I grew up listening to oldies, and it was sort of like a nod back to DTV in the 90s on the Disney Channel. Right. Like they would splice you know, Disney footage from feature and cartoon to something like, say, the Doobie Brothers listening to the music. So I wanted to try something like that, but apply it to anime, especially if you could splice it right. Now I have done some AMVs, but it's not done in the same way like how I wanted to, like, do a lot of them on my main channel. Sometimes I had to put them on my other channel. Right. For one reason or another. I think I started watching a couple other funny reviewers. Now, the one that definitely wanted me to do countdown videos was, I was watching a lot of The Nostalgia Critic, because I'm a big fan of his work. Right. And so I thought of, okay, well, he just does this to regular movies and shows. He very rarely, there's like a mention of an anime or something like that. He doesn't really focus on anime, because I don't blame him if he's not into anime. Right. I understand that. So I figured I'd just apply that to something anime related. My first 5 countdowns were not my best. Right. But they get like a lot of views and people comment on them a lot. And so by the time I did the top 11 saddest anime moments, which is my highest viewed video, right. I'm still surprised by that. Michael McKnight told me a method of like how I could do this, and he helped perfect how I make my videos. Instead of just doing it like slideshow videos, I was able to do it like with the footage, like how I would seen on these other like Out of Glasses reviewers and etc. So it was like from that point on, I decided, okay, I'm going to do that as much as I can, you know. And now with anime analysis, I'm not sure how that came into being. I remember the video how it all started. It was the Miyazaki movie Timeline. What inspired that was I was watching a Zelda timeline theory video, and someone said, "This feels a lot like it." Like, yeah, that was what kind of inspired that. I wanted to try something a little different, you know, something that was not necessarily countdown related or anything like that. And so shortly after I uploaded that, I then came up with the idea of the title of anime analysis. I think someone used that before. Someone definitely used it after it. I did say you can definitely use that. That's fine with me. Shadow ACS is the one.
Right.
I actually said to him, I said, "Yeah, go ahead and use it." He was actually this close to changing it, and he said until I, said, "Hey, it's all right with me." Look, this will be the first episode of Anime Analysis. I just added that on there, like shortly after I uploaded that, and so it was sort of like a variety. Like sometimes there'd be theories, sometimes there'd be reviews themselves. I mean, the ones that I really want to do are like yet to be done.
Right.
Back in January when I did Anime Analysis Month, I felt to myself, okay, it's been taking me such a long time in between to do one for one reason or another.
Right.
And so I thought, like, okay, I was looking at my playlist, like, wait, only 5 videos in comparison to some of these other ones which are more. I felt to myself, okay, I've got to figure out how can I get some more and do something useful at the same time. And I was looking at the countdowns, I was thinking, okay, how about I do Anime Analysis Month back in January, because I was thinking of like Nostalgia Critic would do, he did Schwarzenegger month, sequel month, Star Trek month, Linkara did Secret Origins month, which turned out really well, that was well received, and so I wanted to try something like that during this certain month. So I thought to myself, okay, I do anime analysis where I look back on my countdowns from my top 11 anime villains to the top 11 anime monsters, so that was like that 11 countdowns. So I figured I'd go over that, like, okay, do these selections still hold up? Why did I pick them at the time, and etc. And if there were like certain things that I screwed up on that they kind of point out, I will point out, yes, it has been pointed out. And the last day, I swear to God, I had 5 episodes to upload. And I had a cold within that time frame, so 4 of them I had to record my audio, I had to record my commentary, and then I had to put it all together and edit it, because I felt to myself, I have to have this up by the end of the 31st of January, because I felt like I'm not going to screw this one up for myself.
Right.
Not that it was no actual deadline, I just felt I had to say to myself, I'm not going to, have this sort of fluke.
Right.
Not on my watch. Like, I'll be damned if I let that happen. And History of Super Mario Brothers, how that came into being was, I was watching Linkara's History of Power Rangers, and I felt to myself, I like that approach of a biased perspective review of that sort of thing. And I wanted to apply that with Super Mario Brothers. And so that was well received. And and then about a year ago, I then thought of, okay, well, I'll extend it to the other Nintendo-based web shows, because I did say that it set the standard for all other Nintendo-based web shows, and all of this would have to reckon with, at least the first 3 seasons of SMB, because they were the ones that did that, and they were the best too.
Right.
After that, they kind of go down, but again, I'll be saving those for the reviews and explain as to why.
Right.